Happy Friday, everybody. I am Chris Gore. We are Film Thread, and we have a huge show today. Very excited. Editor-in-Chief Alan Ng, my colleague at Film Thread, will be joining me to talk about a lot of movies today. Jurassic World Dominion opens today in the theaters. We're going to talk to you about it. Additionally, Alan got to see an early screening of Buzz Lightyear, so he'll give us his thoughts. Also, we'll be talking about the controversial documentary from Matt Walsh, What is a Woman, and the director of Ninja Badass, which opens in theaters today in limited release. He's joining us on the podcast to talk. And also Dante James, you don't know, one of our more prolific writers at Film Thread, will be talking about What is a Woman. He wants to add his thoughts. So let's get started, everybody. It's time to get the show kicked off. I hope you're doing great on a Friday. I always love talking to you on Friday. So let's light up the chat. Let's go live. Friday, my favorite day of the week to talk to you about movies. And joining me is Alan Ng, the editor-in-chief of Film Thread. Alan, how you doing?
Doing good. I saw a lot of movies yesterday. The last few days, actually. So I'm just kind of getting my thoughts together. But,
okay, well let's kick it off because we have a lot to discuss on the show today. So maybe let's kick it off like with your Buzz Lightyear initial impressions, your initial reaction. We'll do a full review next week, but I want to get like your Buzz Lightyear reaction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll just say this. Pixar is back with Lightyear. With all we've been talking about Disney and Pixar and the direction of the company, Lightyear is just a return to good old Pixar fun that we had years ago. It's just a plain old fun sci-fi adventure. It's got all the cute elements you need in it. Socks, the robot cat, is gonna fly off the toy shelves at various Disney theme parks. It's super cute character. Yes, there is a same-sex couple, but it's treated very respectfully. But other than that, it's not woke. And I think again, Pixar just focuses in on one idea and tells a story beyond that. And in this movie, it's this idea that the mistakes you make in life, no matter how big or how small, is not going to derail your life, but there is good that can come out of it. And so maybe for a brief moment in time, we're gonna have an actual good movie from Disney that people are going to like.
I don't know if I believe you. I think that you're.
I know we are so shell shocked, but
I'm shell shocked.
Yeah.
I look. I'll see for myself next week. I know you saw it.
Yeah,
you were at the same.
I was with Eric Weber and I was with Rodrigo, and we loved it. I heard there was people were laughing. People are having a good time. I mean, that's what we got out of Lightyear.
Again, I'll see it for myself, and because I think you're biased towards Disney a little.
I am. I'll admit it. I'm a mark for Disney, but again, I'm coming around to the cracks in the armor there.
Oh, well, there are many. The one thing I keep hearing, and I heard this from Eric Weber, his YouTube channel, just look up, it's Midnight Movie Talk. And he could use a sub. So throw a sub his way. Eric Weber. He was talking about it. It's basically focuses on Socks the cat. It's pretty much like all Socks the cat is the thing.
It's like, having Pam Anderson in your movie. The focus is on Pam Anderson. It's just the Socks the cat is just cute. Is super cute, and and it plays a big role in it. But this is still a Lightyear story. And
look, Alan, just admit it's another bait and switch. It's the Buzz Lightyear movie, but it's really the Socks movie. That's what it is. We've seen it over and over again. It's Socks the movie, but they're selling it as Buzz Lightyear. I call BS on you, Alan.
See, I think it's honestly, I think it's a conspiracy by Disney. I think Disney is purposely putting out so much crap to just for Lightyear to be that great movie that everyone's gonna go and see.
Well, we'll see about that. Let's talk to people in the chat here and give you a couple of quick reminders. One, please like, share, and subscribe. We reached 42,000 subscribers this week. I'm very excited about it because everyone knows what the number 42 means. It's the secret.
Means everything.
Means everything, exactly. So 42,000. We want to increase our subscribers. So please like, share, subscribe to the podcast, to our channel. And also, if you'd like a Film Thread t-shirt like I'm wearing right now, you can get them on shop.filmthread.com. That helps support everything that we do. And as a reminder, Film Thread t-shirts cure nudity on contact. And please subscribe to our Film Thread newsletter. Like, we send a newsletter. We actually send our email newsletter out when we go live. So it's just another quick reminder. And we have the link right there in the email newsletter. So go to filmthread.com/newsletter and check it out. And you can follow us on everything. We're Film Thread on everything. And if you want something free, the last thing I'm going to say, last plug, I got to learn to power through these quicker. But send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to Film Thread, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California 90036. I will ship you out something free like a Film Thread bumper sticker. And if you put a lot of postage on it, I'll throw you some DVDs. I'm serious. Send me a big envelope, a bunch of, stamps, whatever you got them lying around, and I will send you back a package of free stuff. And who doesn't love it?
Did you really say Wilshire, by the way?
Wilshire. Wilshire. I want to
It's Wilshire. It's Wilshire.
I know it's pronounced Wilshire, but some people don't get the spelling correct.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
Wilshire. Wilshire. So whatever. Okay. There you go. But let's see who's in the chat today before we get started, because it is going to be a big show. Scott Miller says Jurassic World was enjoyable nostalgia fluff, but JW2 failed on multiple levels. The only positive was Chris Pratt's charisma. We're going to talk about Jurassic World right after we check in with all of you. Matt Jones, I watched RRR last night. Okay, take a drink. I found it woke, ridiculous, bombastic nonsense with terrible dialogue and caricature villains that lack context and nuance. I also find it highly entertaining. I think you could read into it that it's woke, but it's 100% not woke.
Yeah, just the fact that guns for everybody. That's not a woke concept.
Matt Jones, I have to disagree with you vehemently. It is not. The only thing that's woke about it is maybe that like the British are the enemy, and it's set in colonial India, right? So they're a I mean, this is history. This isn't like any woke. This is, India was a British colony, and the big theme of it is that if they just had guns, they could drive them out. Mm-hmm. If they just had guns, they would be able to drive out the British invaders. So there you go. So yeah, I disagree with you on the woke aspect of that. And
you're right everywhere else, definitely.
X Douchey McDouche X says RRR greater than Jurassic World. There you go. And then Phil W says, thank you for sharing the fan edits the other day. So much better than what Disney released. Yes, if you looked at our live stream on Wednesday, we talked about Kenobi, and I shared, and I believe the link is in the description. I shared a fan edit of the first 3 episodes of Kenobi, and it improves it. I still think it's polishing a turd.
Yeah, go to the backup link, because the main link is no longer working.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So there's a backup link. So maybe we want to edit that. So there we go. Anna says, hey, for $9.99, thank you for your super chat. Happy Friday, everyone. Much love to you both, especially chat and mods. Yes, thank you to the mods there. It's going to be an interesting day. It's going to be an interesting day based on the movies we're talking about and some of the topics. So we appreciate the mods here. Flaccid Phoenix, give him a subscribe to his channel. And here he is. Look at this. Flaccid Phoenix commenting in the chat. Disney is pushing a sock agenda, and I won't have it. There you go. And Dempsey says, like that slap button. You just want to see that video. Is that what it is? Wait, do you mean this? Do you mean this video? No. I think you mean this.
Yeah.
This is just your reminder to subscribe. It's the last thing before we get to it.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. And Derek Douglas says, has Mickey Mouse got some dirt on Alan? We'll see. Alan cashing those Disney checks, says Hank VP.
Yeah, I mean,
Alan,
look at all that.
Here's your chance to be called a shill. You're a shill.
No, I mean, they're not giving me money. I've given Disney so much money in my life, so much of my money. It's insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I regret it. Yeah.
Anomalous Content says, hey, Chris and Alan, don't know how big you are in physical media, but the theatrical cut of The Warriors is finally available on Blu-ray thanks to Imprint, and it's gorgeous to behold. Yeah, I think that's a classic.
Yeah.
And I was not aware of the Blu-ray release. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, I'm still a physical media guy. Still a physical media guy. I gotta have it. That way they're not changing the movie by putting like new warnings at the beginning for no reason whatsoever. So Beowulf's Revenge says it was more of a lack of guns. There were also lots of different Indian factions that didn't like each other. They weren't really a united country. Mm-hmm. True. I mean, this isn't that movie though. That would be like a documentary, right? This is it's a fun adventure that has deeper layers to it. And I know RRR comes up like nearly every episode. It's really because I'm upset that more people haven't seen it. That here it is, like we can sit here. It's boring to me to complain about every movie every week. And we're about to complain about Jurassic World Dominion. We're about to do that. We're about to do that. And so I want there to be something hopeful. Hey, here's other indie movies. Here's other films that are out there like RRR. So there you go. Shucksy says 42 is still not as good as 69. Oh, I see. Shelby AC, Toy Story 4 made me so mad. I don't know if I could go back. Just want to let it lie at TS3. Yeah, TS3 was really emotional. That scene where they're all holding hands, facing their own death. Which, let's face it, childhood toys go places to die. That's just a reality.
I remember when they were holding hands about to die, I said to myself, I thought to myself, they could really end the movie right here. I mean, they could really die. I mean, that's how good Pixar is at storytelling. Because I thought they were actually going to burn them to death.
Lord Blueberry the First says, Alan, are they threatening you? Do you need help? Blink twice if you're not okay. All right.
It's a good movie.
Well, we'll do a deeper review next week because I feel like I'm going to have an opposing opinion based on other people I've spoken to. Akanika says, stand by your review, Alan. We don't have to agree. It used to be fun to debate. It actually is fun to debate. Yeah. As much as like I will tease Alan or, whatever, and we have different opinions. I don't know. I want to hear his opinion. Yeah. So.
And I'm ready for another Disney check. I still like Doctor Strange. So.
Matthew A. Kobo says that room is starting to drive Alan crazy.
I know. We got the black sheet here to cover up the pink cabinet.
Patrick Lemire says, interesting. The beauty of the original Buzz was the whole Philip K. Dick for kids aspect of a toy, not knowing it's a toy. Beautiful looking film. Oh, wow. I like that comment, Patrick.
I mean, that's true. But this is this is the movie that the toy is based on. And it's a space adventure.
CD Stein 69 says, because the last few Pixar movies have been less than stellar, but I'll believe it when I see it myself as well. Zax says, hashtag all Alan's nipples. And Anna, good segue here. Anna says the OG class was able to truly reunite for Jurassic World Dominion. I will forever be mad that we couldn't get that for Star Wars in the sequels. Don't even remind me of that. I've done several videos about that.
No, you've done every video about that.
Yeah, Star Wars. Thank you for bringing it up, so I don't have to. But let's get right into it with Jurassic World Dominion, because that's the big movie that opens today. And I know I have a thing here somewhere that I pre-made. Here we go. Jurassic World Dominion. It's out. It's the third film of the second trilogy, the Jurassic World trilogy, where finally the cast from the Jurassic Park trilogy, the beloved cast, which wasn't in all the movies, all three of those movies, but whatever, they're all y'all united, along with some new characters. And a guy, an evil corporate leader based on Tim Cook from Apple. It's 100% It is. It's that's Tim Cook from Apple, 100%. It's sort of like the haircut, his sort of mannerisms. It's totally like, oh yeah, the guy from Apple. He seems like way too nice to be genuine, and that's kind of the take they had for this. The guy who runs the evil corporation. I even forget what's the name of that corporation.
Oh, Biosyn.
Biosyn. That's right, Biosyn. Right? Like, are we creating sins in the world? Anyways, Alan, everyone wants to hear your thoughts. Hot off the Buzz Lightyear reaction. What did you think of Jurassic World Dominion?
Well, I think it was a mistake for them to bring the old crew back together so early in the movie. I would have put it off to the end and maybe killed one off in the middle of the film. I think that would have been a much more effective story. But other than that, I watching Dominion, I felt like it made me realize that the whole Jurassic World story just never got off to a good start from the first film, and this is kind of the it's like we've got to tell that third one, and so here it is. At the end of the second one, I was kind of excited about this idea of dinosaurs and living on Earth amongst us humans. And there's a bit of that, but it ultimately becomes another Jurassic Park movie where there's a whole adventure of another park with more dinosaurs. I can't say that I hated the movie, but I think I'm more or less putting up with this movie. Has all the elements, has the old crew, has the new crew, has dinosaurs, but I'm just kind of tired of the series, and I think midway through, I was just kind of like, all right, I've seen all this, I'm ready to go, and just hoping that it would end, because I don't think that there's anything groundbreaking other than telling a different kind of story in a brand new park, so to speak.
Well, it's the same message as all the Jurassic movies.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'll say this:
science, don't mess with science. It's bad when we mess with science. That's maybe a message we could be reminded of in light of the last couple of years.
But that's the same message of each of these movies.
Correct. Yes.
And the other thing is Jurassic Park. That's a movie that will always have a special place in my heart because it was the first. It was the first time I went into a movie theater and said, "Oh my God, there are real dinosaurs in the world." And after that movie, CG just kind of took over. And we started seeing all this. And so, every sequel at that point was doomed, even the Jurassic Park 2 and 3, because we had seen it all before. We can't recapture the specialness of that first movie. And this one, just blends in with all the other CG heavy movies, heavy action movies that we've gotten over the last decade.
Well, I'll say this. The first Jurassic Park movie is the best one. No one will argue with me. There are only 50 CGI shots in that.
Yeah.
And I just remember the magic of sitting in a theater going, these look real. These look real. And I remember people gasping. Now we see special effects like this so often. There's no sense of wonder of seeing something we couldn't possibly see. So, in the early 90s, when that first movie came out, it was amazing. And then all the other Jurassic films after that are like, I wouldn't even put in a second or third spot. Yeah. They're all at the bottom. They're all sort of bottom.
Go ahead.
No, real quick. Although I kind of like Jurassic World, the first one. It was like, oh, this is because it did reference the first movie, that there was a Jurassic Park. We did it wrong. Now we've done it better. We've figured out how to do it. It's Jurassic World. But at this point, people are just bored with dinosaurs. They want spectacle. They want something bigger and bigger and bigger because, well, once you've seen it, which is kind of a comment on special effects and also like, the first trilogy. I'm mixed on this movie like you. I feel like it really, it's the same message as all the previous films. It's don't mess with science. Something terrible is going to happen. And then it's a cat and mouse thing at the end. It's all cat and mouse. It's all like, oh, we got to run and that's like the second half of the movie is that.
Yeah. And that's I'll say this, the action in the second half, it felt like a Universal Studios ride at that point with the way they did the jump scares, the presentation of the dinosaurs. There are parts where you just see the dinosaur head popping through a window or something like that. It's like, oh, I'm on the ride.
It did feel like a ride, like just at many points. And I disagree with you about like bringing in the cast they brought in, you know, your classic cast, you know, from the first Jurassic Park movie, you know, Alan Grant, Ellie, and all that. And Jeff Goldblum is just, I'm sorry, I love Jeff Goldblum. You know, he was great in Thor, and you know, in his part in that, it was great. Like Jeff Goldblum is fun in a, he has a great line about like Jurassic World, not a fan. And it was like, it got a burst of laughter and applause with the audience I saw it with last night. And yeah, so when he says that, I thought that was awesome just to hear him from the and this is what I miss is like, just think, and I know Anna brought it up earlier, just think if they had brought in the legacy cast of Star Wars, had them interact with new characters we're being introduced to, and they had an adventure together. So I disagree with you about they should have like brought them.
I was being facetious there.
I saw it with my daughter, and she was like, she is such a fan of the original Jurassic Park movie because she saw, you know, when she was little, of course, on VHS back in the day. And she even has like some of the old Jurassic Park toys that were really quality at the time. Now the ones they make are garbage, but the ones that they made at the time when the first Jurassic Park movie came out were really amazing. And she would get like choked up every time even the trailer played at the thought of the original cast coming back in. And I feel like having them have an adventure, I thought really worked for me. You know, so those are the things that worked, and the effects.
No, let me just one thing about that.
Sure, yeah, please.
I like the fact that they told two stories: the old cast, the new cast,
right?
And they didn't bring them together until midway through the third act.
Yeah, yeah, but like it's. But again, the thing that gets tired about this movie is it's stuff we've seen before. The sort of unique thing was the fact that now, well, dinosaurs are just part of our world. Although they don't really do much good world building in the sense that like there's like, you know, like flying creatures in a nest in New York City and people, it's just there and no one does anything. Like, it's just weird. You'd think there'd be some sort of Jurassic pest control, which I think would be the third trilogy at this point, is like now and it's what's interesting is at least they did the idea of like, okay, what if humans and dinosaurs had to coexist? How would that work? And I think we discover very quickly it doesn't work at all. So yeah, and then the dialogue, a lot of it is just bad and cheesy and eye rolling and cringe. Like, so I'm mixed about the film. I'd say if I was going to personally rate it, give it like a 5, but I didn't like you pointed out earlier, I didn't hate it, and I was like, well, it felt like, especially that last third, you're on a ride. It's not a movie, it's a ride. Okay, and I'm gonna guess that when Colin Trevorrow was working on this, that they said, hey, make sure you there were definitely things he had to put in that would have fulfilled some sort of like, we're gonna add this to the ride now, or whatever. Like, I mean, they do this now with the bigger movies, is they'll not only are they screening, you know, the scripts for diversity, right? And you notice like the two new characters they brought in, which I thought were great. The two black actors, I thought they were actually really good. They're very good actors. Thought they were good, but they were always saving them. Did you notice that? It was always, they were the ones that were like, I had to save him again. I'm the one that did it. Like when Jeff Goldblum like does the code, he thinks he does the code, but it's actually the other guy in the control tower. Like it just, which is fine, you know. But like, not only are you screening the screenplay for like, okay, does it have diversity? Good. Does it have message? Good. Does it fit the agenda? Good. Also, is there a theme park ride in it? Like that's like.
Are there toys to sell?
It's amazing to me that these Hollywood scripts are put under such scrutiny at studios and like having to fulfill so many boxes to check, whereas that kind of pressure didn't exist back in the day when these classic movies kind of were created. There's just sort of an instinct with filmmakers like Spielberg and Lucas and, you know, on and on.
Let me speak of diversity for a second. This is the thing that bugs me. Because when a big studio wants to claim that they're being diverse, they really aren't. Because if you think about it, you have the two black supporting actors.
Yes.
There's BD Wong. but not a single Latino character in the entire film. And so it's like, okay, we're diverse, but we're gonna, it's this game. It happened even in Jurassic World, the first one, where there weren't any Asian characters, but you had the black and Latin character. It's just this insane thing. I don't care about diversity. I don't care. But if you're going to claim to be diverse, then be diverse. Otherwise, you're just being a hypocrite.
I don't know that they really claim to be. It's just that it's.
But they'll say it. Oh, it's a diverse film. We see people of color, but it's like, we pick and choose what people of color we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I say, for me, the movie's like on a level of a 5. Like there's just stuff that's laughably stupid. And then there's stuff that's fun. The one thing that did also bother me about it, another critique, is that the movie was very dark. And I feel like that's always, I'm told by people who work in visual effects, that when you see a visual effects movie that's very dark, it's because they didn't have a lot of money for the effects. And so the way to cover bad CGI shots is muddy. It's muddy and dark. And I felt a lot of the movie, especially the last third, is very muddy and dark. And I think that that's just a cover for, just less than stellar effects. Let's get to your comments and questions about Jurassic World. We'll get right to it here with Nerd Immunity says, I started laughing at the trailer when Pratt promised to bring the raptor back, bring her baby back. Promised the raptor to bring her baby back. Yeah, it was just like, that is pretty, I mean, at least it's pointed out in the film. Jeff Goldblum character says, you made a promise to a dinosaur. That's stupid. So Bear Down Adam says, how does Colin Trevorrow keep getting chances? I think it's one of those things where it's like, I think it just comes down to, is it on budget? Is it on time? Is it profitable? Okay, you get another one. It's when a director bombs that they go into what they call director jail. And you don't get to make a movie for a while. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think this movie's going to bomb at all. I don't think it was
no
horrible. I think he did the best with what he was given, considering he wrote it too. And so, the idea of, Universal giving him $100 million to make this movie, I think that was a sound investment on their part. They weren't shooting for greatness. That was for sure.
Yeah, well, but they did reunite the casts, and I'm thinking I don't know. I thought that was a great move. Rust in peace. Jurassic Park still only needed to be the one movie. Agree. And Film Threat says, please continue to remind Chris how Star Wars dropped the ball. I'll never let that one go. I'll never let it go. It's the biggest mistake in movie history, and no one should keep their job. Anyone involved in that decision should not be working on Star Wars. No, I'm sorry. They should not be working on Star Wars. Biggest mistake in cinematic history is to make a sequel to Star Wars and not reunite the legacy characters, even for one moment. Although I think they should have done what they did in Jurassic World Dominion, which is like, let them do something. CD Stein 69 for $9.99 says, maybe that rhymes a lot. Maybe they need to keep making these movies with this don't mess with science message, because apparently we're in real life not getting the message. Bat soup, anyone? I hear you. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, it's this message over and over. It's like, yeah, we normal humans, we get it. Maybe we shouldn't mess with stuff. Like there's certain scientific arenas and roads we shouldn't go down, yet we do it. Or at least billionaires have the luxury of doing it, which is great. A quick reminder, there are over 250 people watching. Slap that like button. Slap it. Because it'll help get the word out and grow our channel, which is what we're trying to do, and continue this conversation. Beowulf's Revenge says, the Velociraptors scared the crap out of me the first time I saw them. The first Jurassic Park movie is the best. Yeah, there's no question, but it's like, here's the first Jurassic. If you did a top 10 Jurassic Park movies, the first one would be Jurassic Park, and then there'd be empty slots, and then you've got sort of all the other Jurassic movies made after Jurassic Park are mid-tier or below. They're just nothing has even come close. Although I'd say Jurassic World, I do like the I do like the nostalgia.
Yeah, so, I mean, I do struggle trying to come up with the second best Jurassic Park movie.
Well, I got to say, Ninja Badass, and the director of Ninja Badass is coming on at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time today to talk to us about his film, which is opening in theaters today in limited release. How many ninjas are in Jurassic World? There are none. But I appreciate.
Or maybe there are, and you didn't see them.
That's exactly right. Baranski says, aren't most dinosaurs found in China and South America? So do you have Latinos in it already? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just feel like if I'm focused on diversity stuff, it's like it should just be organic. It just feels organic, where you're just like, and the fact that it's constantly pointed out, or we're reminded of it, like with this whole Kenobi debacle. It's like nobody cares. Just tell a good story. And I actually thought the actors that were the non-legacy characters that are new, they were all very good. They were all really good, actually. I thought, no complaints.
Yeah. And after watching 4 episodes of Kenobi, I thought the dialogue in Jurassic World was pretty good.
That's funny. It's like your standards just keep lowering. If you keep watching Disney Plus shows, your standards just lower and lower and lower. It's just like, whatever. It's another Jurassic movie. Secret Squirrel 726 says the dinos are heavily applied to have already got off the island before the original Jurassic Park story even starts. That is shown in the first movie. Yeah, that was shown in the first movie. It just never paid off until this movie. So There you go. Zax says he could only work with what he was given. He also wrote it. Alan, 22. All right.
Yeah, I know.
Well, okay. Here's an important point. CD Stein 69 says Jurassic World sequel trilogy is better than the Star Wars sequels. I will actually give you that. I'll give you that. I would agree with that. I think that it just like, it's at least it's like, okay, you've got the characters consistent in all 3 Jurassic World films. The second one was awful. Might be one of the worst Jurassic films, but fine. Jurassic World, I kind of liked for the member berries and whatnot. Then you've got like the second film was not great. And then the third film, it's like, okay, it is a conclusion. It does come to a satisfying conclusion, along with, bringing back the legacy characters from the first trilogy. I think was, I don't know. I thought it was a good move. It's like, this is the good part of it, right? And it still for me lands as a mixed review. Derek Douglas says, is Kermit the Frog in a coffin behind you, Alan?
I know we keep talking about that at home here. It's just the box he came in, but and we put him in the coffin pose.
Alan makes a great point there. Yeah. He does make good points. There we go. NPR said the new actors were too good for the material. Some called me crazy. Really? New actors were good. Okay, well, that's interesting. Yeah. New actors were too good for the material. That's all right. Well,
I mean, they delivered the material pretty good. No matter. Yeah. I mean, that's what being a great actor is delivering bad dialogue.
Fritz Crawford says, I like the black actors in Top Gun Maverick, and there is even a part in the movie where Tom Cruise is going on the mission, and the black actor gives him this long gay gaze. I think you may have read something into that. And Jack D. Ripper says, R.I.P. Kermit.
Poor Kermit.
And Fletcher Williams says Jurassic Pest Control would be an awesome sequel to TV show. I feel like that's what they'll do, is they'll spin off a Jurassic television show, which is just basically like tracking down dinosaurs and catching them. And then Chris Pratt will do one cameo in the first episode, and then that'll be it. It'll be passed off to a new crew of diverse people with someone behind in the chair. I mean, it can already, like, it writes itself, right? And Rogue Disney, hey, Rogue Disney, good to see you here. Raptors are the ninjas of dinosaurs. There you go. There we go. And Shadow End Times for $5. Thank you so much. It's awesome to see at least one part of Attack of the Show people still rock on. Chris Gore, still the man. Chat, it's Morbin time. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for the kind words. Here's the funny thing. I was doing all this stuff before I was on Attack of the Show, doing Film Threat as like a magazine in the 80s and 90s, as a website in the late 90s and early 2000s, and like, till today. And so I'm just sort of still doing the thing I do. It's just like sort of pivoting where I can do it. YouTube was not a thing in the early 2000s. But thank you for the $5 and appreciate the comment. Ian Connell says, defund the dinosaurs. That could be a part of it. Yeah, they could work in modern politics and news stories into a show about dinosaurs, because as we all know, everyone loves that, to take what's happening in our modern world and then just sort of weave it in like a January 6th reference in a Star Trek show.
Mhm.
Everyone loves when that happens. They don't. I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Fletcher Williams says, but when are we going to have the Transformers versus Predators versus aliens versus dinosaurs?
Yes. When are we going to get that?
Versus indigenous people. Don't forget, that's a real Predator movie that's coming. That's a ripoff of a fan film, actually. Dempsey says Jurassic Park versus Jason versus Freddy versus Ash. They're coming in fast and furious here. MK Solid 82. Chris, can you give us a Krull rant? Not today. We have too much to discuss. Way too much to discuss. Do we get Dino Riders for the next Jurassic Park? That's a good idea. You should work on that new Peacock show coming soon. And Ghost Rider says, Chris, what is your opinion on Colin as a filmmaker? What did you think about his Star Wars script? I actually think that Colin is sort of a Spielberg protege. It's well known in the industry that what Spielberg will do when he makes a movie these days is he makes the entire movie using animatics, so you can actually watch the film. So he just makes the whole movie and edits it, right? With like storyboards and like still pictures, and you hear the dialogue. He just makes the entire movie. It's actually an interesting technique, and he has a whole bunch of filmmakers who work for him that do that, and that's where Colin came from. And I thought Jurassic World, I thought it did what it was supposed to do, which is make you interested in more Jurassic Park movies. And I think his Star Wars script was much better, and they should have made that version. They should have made that. I don't know what made them cast that script aside and hire JJ to make a worse movie. I think it was terrible. But thank you, Ghost Rider. Lil Movie Perp says, when are we going to say movie was ruined by politics, but the entire cast is white people? Or do white people not count as politics and entertainment? I don't know. Alan, you're not white. What are your thoughts?
I think movies haven't been ruined by politics yet. I think we need more of it for it to actually be ruined. I think we've just not had enough of it. I want more politics in my movies, in every storyline, in my children's movies, in my animated films, I want it in my male testosterone action movies now. So yes, please, more politics. I love it, and I will keep supporting it with my dollars.
There we go. And is Alan white? Let us know and slap that like button. Oh,
whoa.
Pops, there were too many dumb action sequences in Dominion. Motorcycle chase, fight on the ice, flaming locusts. Yeah, they were dumb. It's,
Yeah.
I just wish it wasn't. You know what? It would have been a better movie, I'd say, at a shorter running time. Needed to be a tight 2 hours.
Yeah. I was so bored. I was so bored.
Professor Poopy says, I'm wearing earplugs so I can ignore the woke dialogue but see the dinos eat people. Smart move. And Patrick Lemire says, is there a Holdo maneuver in the movie? There is not. There is not. So you're safe. Dempsey, the real question, was there a dinosaur that speaks English and says Alan?
Like referring to Alan Grant? Is that what?
Yeah. Bear Down Adam says, the old crew doesn't mesh with any of this. Yeah, I feel like they kind of force them into like all these big action set pieces. It doesn't completely work, but what can you say? Real quick, I want to, this sounds like okay. Somebody messaged me last night. And I'm like with email, I like to have a zero inbox, just so you know. When it comes to email, like if you ever email me, I'm going to be very, very quick at getting back to you and kind of being done. Like, okay, I will answer all my email, and I usually do it within like 24 hours because I want that inbox to be zero. But I like to have my discussions and conversations here. But somebody asked me about, when we were talking about Kenobi, they asked me, so like, because I mentioned that a friend of mine actually like came up with what is a better idea for the Kenobi series. He and his son, they're like watching, and this is a friend of mine, not going to say who he is, but my friend like is a staunch sequel defender. And Like, it's just like, no, I like the sequels. My kids grew up watching them. They like them, etc. And finally, Kenobi broke him, where he's like now posting on his social media saying, this is garbage. This is fan film. This is terrible. And he and his son came up with what he thought was a better idea for the Kenobi series. And he texted it to me. And I'm going to share the text right now. So I'll read it to you for those listening. Basically, 6 surviving Jedi find out Anakin had an offspring, Luke, and decided to go after him and kill him before he can grow up, turn and join his father, Vader. Obi-Wan has to fight these rogue Jedi to protect Luke, and he's got to do it in the shadows so kid Luke never sees or knows. And I said, I want to see your version. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? We'll talk about Kenobi next Wednesday, whatever the new, what is it, episode 5. Apparently the last 2 episodes are co-written by Andrew Stanton. So they could be better, but already at the top, it's like the whole thing is, so you know what this story is about? It's about Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he has to fight Jedi who maybe he fought alongside with to protect Luke, saying, no, I got to protect Luke. It's like, no, this is the offspring of Anakin. This is Darth Vader's son. And I don't know, that could be really interesting. And then weave Vader in there somehow, but maybe they never meet or never have a second duel, right?
But would you be conflicting with Star Wars lore by making Jedi assassins, so to speak?
I don't know, but that is a plausible story. Yeah. What do people in the chat think of this story? Mm-hmm. That the Obi-Wan series being focused on Jedi trying to kill Luke after they find out it's Luke is Anakin's offspring and living on Tatooine. Think of the story like Where We Are, which is so convoluted and uninteresting, and it's just boring to the point now where I'm embarrassed to be a Star Wars fan. I gotta get rid of that R2D2 in the corner. I threw a little film threat cinch bag on top of it as a little nod to episode 7 when he was just like sitting inactive for the whole movie, which is terrible. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this? Alan, what do you think?
Yeah, it's certainly better than what we're currently given. Yeah, I would only question whether Jedis would actually do that, but I think that's an interesting idea of, what if Jedis, got to the point where they had to, where killing an innocent child is the answer, and that does create a lot of dynamics, and that's kind of what I'm looking for in these stories is an opportunity to try something different, try something to challenge what we understand about the lore, and then see what kind of interesting stories you can pull out of that. And I can definitely see the story possibilities there, and the excitement of, just the fact that there's fighting happening, is a big plus, because the fighting in Obi-Wan is just very minimal and very drab and dull,
and it's very basic. Bunch of people here saying that's a great idea. Bear Down Adam and among others saying it's a good idea. Satvik Medinini says, dude, that sounds like an incredible idea. Is it me, or does the internet know how to write entertainment more than Hollywood and their so-called writers do? I will say this, Satvik, that I think that people on the internet think about this stuff more deeply. I mean, it's really one of those things where just like, look, I could be watching the NBA finals and I could be thinking about how much Kenobi could have been better. This is my brain kind of goes, it's almost like a puzzle, like trying to solve a problem. And it bothers me that the same sort of care and thought is not in the minds of people who actually work on this stuff, who get paid to work on it.
Yeah, well, it's also the studio influence. These are the rules. Right. You're playing with our characters. We bought them, and here are our rules that you have to put on your story. Exactly. And that's why that's why we focus on independent films. And wait till we talk about Ninja Badass.
Yeah, well, we are going to talk about it at 10:30. Sobra beber para contarla says, I think I probably butchered that. Please, my apologies. I think Kathleen Kennedy always thought she was better than both George Lucas and Spielberg, and she's playing that fantasy through her, quote, adaptations, close quote. Yeah. Bad Adam 12 says, that text is great. The story could revolve around the morality of what is the right thing to do. Kenobi wouldn't just fight his brother, but try to convince them to his way of thinking. It's a better concept. And Trinoculus P, paint drying would improve this writing. And remember, the Force is female, lol, says the things and things. Douglas A. Burton says, love it. Research by several investigators around the world has uncovered how ancient peoples encountered and used the camera obscura principle for a variety of purposes, says JC. There you go. In a darkened theater, JC also goes on, in a darkened chamber, light passing through a small opening can create haunting and ephemeral moving images. I think you're talking about movies in cinema.
Yeah.
So, Sean Wickett, I'm pretty sure they didn't listen to Andrew Stanton, but I'm hoping.
Yeah, we'll find out next week.
And Phil W says that's basically Rebels, and the big bad was Maul finding Kenobi on Tatooine. Yeah, but I mean, it's not like Star Wars doesn't rehash ideas. I mean, we had like 3 Death Stars, right? I mean, Star Killer.
And Lucas came out with the second one, so
yeah. Phil W, how can KK be better than Lucas and Spielberg? All she did was bring them coffee. My understanding was that she was mostly a producer, like in terms of scheduling and like making the trains run on time. And that's not a small task, by the way. That's not a small task.
Yeah, and it was her and Frank Marshall too.
Yeah, that should not be diminished. It's incredibly important, but I think the creative bug is different.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's different. So bear down, Adam. I think Andrew Stanton can be the savior. Hopefully, I've actually lost hope. I don't think we're going to have a savior for this.
If there is one, though, that would be it.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Before we start talking about what is a woman, and we are going to talk about that documentary. Dante James wanted me to remind you, Alan, to put his Twitter handle in the review. I don't know. He'll tell you when.
Yeah, we don't do that.
He just texted me.
Okay. Yeah, we don't do that we don't do that in the review. We do it in the Twitter post.
Oh, well, maybe the Twitter post.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about
my understanding is that people are like mad at us on Twitter for just reviewing the movie, which is weird, but okay.
Well, yeah. It's not like we haven't gone through that before.
Yeah. So, but here is Dante's review. It is on filmthreat.com. This is a reminder that we don't always do this, but I do want to remind people that Film Threat puts out 3 to 5 reviews every day, minimal. In fact, when we're covering a film festival, sometimes 20 reviews we'll post in a day. Alan?
I don't know about 20, but definitely this is going to be a big weekend because we have Dances with Films and Tribeca, so we're going to have a lot of reviews going up. But yeah, I think the height is 15. We did that during Sundance one year.
But no, it's and we try to spread them out like every couple hours. A new review will post in the site, which is why we encourage you, go to filmthreat.com every day. If you don't see the movie you're looking for, just type in the search bar, you'll find it. You can kind of scroll through our latest 15 reviews if you use the thing on the very home page and do that. And I want to get into this. And one, I'm curious if people in the chat have seen the movie. If anyone has seen the film, we're going to be bringing on Dante to talk about this momentarily. But where's I'm trying to get Dante to join us.
Yeah. Here, I'll show you. I've got the Rotten Tomatoes page on it.
Yeah. Can you share that? I think we're one of the 2 reviews.
Here it is. There's Dante and there's Christian. The only 2 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes for the documentary.
Well, is it fresh?
It is not available at the moment. They need more reviews. But notice the audience score there.
Audience score 2,500 plus review ratings, 97%. Oh yeah, Rotten Tomatoes. I think they need 4 reviews to actually get the rating. Is that so. Am I right?
I think so.
I believe it's 4.
Yeah, I mean, when Shut-In came out, I think there were 8 reviews initially. We're the only 2 so far.
Yeah, there you go. Well, look, I'm curious if people have seen it because we're going to talk about it. What am I for some reason the star comments are not coming up for me. Something's
you might have to.
wrong with StreamYard at this moment.
Are you not seeing the tab? Is that what you're saying?
No, I see it.
Okay.
I see it. Ian Connell says, going to watch What is a Woman tonight. All right. Fletcher Williams says, how dare you watch a movie? Dempsey, how dare you, angry Thunberg noises? How dare
How dare you?
Reese Corin, What is a Woman is pretty good. Fairly balanced, except for okay, well there you go.
I don't know. Is it balanced? Is it balanced?
Sober vivir para contarla. I watched the trailer and seems interesting. I like the part when they can define a cat, but not a woman. Jake, the movie geek. I've seen it and love it. Awesome documentary. Patrick Lemire says Twitter isn't real. It's like 3 misanthropes sitting at a table in a packed high school cafeteria trying to run the school. Just ignore them or give them a wedgie. And Solomon Thornton says, what is a woman? But the real question is, what is woke? Oh, here we go. Jade Scott, What is a Woman was great. See if people critique the movie or the producers. Interesting. And the Force Skin Awakens. I want to see the uncut interviews. Some were pretty funny. But joining us today is Dante James is here. Dante, dude, you got a nice setup here. Is that your
actually, this isn't my normal base of operations. My place actually, there were some issues with the plumbing, so I had to rent out an Airbnb for like the next 2 weeks. So,
are you kidding me?
Yeah, pain in the ass, man. But hey, I'm happy to be here. Finally,
nice.
Right?
Yeah. Now, okay, so let's launch right into it. And one thing I actually want to address, because one of the things I think Matt Walsh did a whole thing about this where he was berating the critics for being cowardly for not reviewing the film. And I will say this, having been around this space for a while, most critics are cowards. They don't want to go out of their way to talk about anything other than like the big mainstream movie that's opening in theaters. Whereas,
and anything that's non-threatening, let's be real. Like
exactly.
Anything that will, cause them backlash, they don't want to touch.
Precisely. So like we would have reviewed the film sooner, except that I think they sent Alan, they emailed you like a link to watch the film, like the Friday. It opened on, I think the movie came out on Wednesday.
Yeah, the day after it premiered, they sent me an email saying if I wanted a link. And I go, yes, I want a link. Send that.
Yeah. So we would have gotten a review out faster, but then you, Dante, you messaged me and said, I personally want to review this movie. So let's get into it. I mean, we've got your review. Actually, wait, we can see it real quick. Let's share the screen. This is Dante's review that's on Film Threat right now. You can read the entire review. It's sort of 2 parts. I think Dante, I read your review. It's very thoughtful. I thought that you really went out of your way to, like there's even like, and not like we need to do this, but there's a trigger warning at the beginning, and we never do trigger warnings. But I kind of feel like knowing that any discussion of this topic comes with it like slings and arrows, like I'm sure we're getting, and you were mentioning, I didn't look, but apparently on social media, we're getting a lot of shit. But Dante, if you could, in your words, tell us your review.
Yeah, man. I mean, to be honest with you, I've heard about this movie for a long time, and I was planning to watch it, but it wasn't like a real big, top 5 things to do on my list of things to watch, basically. So the reason why, though, I had more of an interest of it or in it now is because of the fact that I've read so many critics not wanting to review this movie, and I'm just sitting there thinking, what they're afraid of. Our job is to review movies, and leave our politics out of it, and review the material as is. Obviously, we're all going to have political biases. We're going to have social leanings here and there, and I completely understand that. But I think just to be completely afraid of this topic, and worry about the backlash of your career because you gave an opinion, that didn't sit well with me. So I wanted to review this movie, not to spark controversy. I didn't do it because I'm trying to, bring attention to myself. I just wanted to do it because, hey, you know what? I do take being a film critic serious. And I feel like people read our stuff because they want honesty. They don't read it because our politics align. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's people who do. People will watch, read, listen to, play video games. They'll do everything related to their politics. I get that. But I wanted this to be a conversation, And to be honest with you, I thought it was a really valid question. I'm not going to sit here and say what my political beliefs are in this because, again, it's about the film. It's not about me. But I just wanted to kind of spark the fire for other critics like, hey, man, just because, you don't agree with this topic doesn't mean it's not your job to review it,
And I think you mentioned earlier that you wanted to be tagged on Twitter. Are we getting shit on Twitter at the?
I'm kind of going through it. For the review itself, it's mostly supportive. And yes, you are not tagged on it.
No, the only reason why I said, if you need to tag me, it's because if people have questions, I will gladly answer your questions. I'm not going to shy away from this. I'm not going to, hide behind, my writing name. It's like, hey, you know what? If you have a question for me, just straight up ask me because I'm going to be straight up with you.
What's your Twitter, Dante?
So my Twitter handle is Cancel Dante. I know. But you know what? That's a whole other topic, the whole cancellation thing. But and I did it as a joke a while back, you know what I mean? And hopefully, I don't get, Gina Serrano out here, because of the fact that I have this provocative, Twitter handle.
Well, what bothered me is, and this happened with Shut-In when Shut-In came out. And by the way, the movie Shut-In, which is distributed by the Daily Wire, it was written by a female screenwriter, wrote this script, and it was on. I don't know if you're familiar with what the Blacklist is. The Blacklist are indie scripts that got passed over, or like, hey, this movie should really get made. Why isn't this? So there's a group of people that publish what they call the Blacklist, which is a list of screenplays like, hey, these are really good screenplays, you should make it. Well, the movie got made, independently financed, and then was distributed by the Daily Wire. But because people have so many political biases, they won't even review the movie for what it is. I mean, Shut-In is not even political. It's just, it's a really good indie thriller that actually won an award at Award This as Indie Thriller of the Year. So, and they also, Daily Wire has put out movies like The Hyperion, which is a superhero movie. There's no politics about it, nothing. And Gina Carano, Terror on the Prairie, her movie's coming out. It's a Western. It's a Western action movie. How are these movies political? They're just like, there's nothing really political in them. In this movie, and I will say, just to get into because I took some notes, I actually really enjoyed What Is a Woman quite a bit. I think that I think Matt Walsh is like, we can go to the format here. Matt Walsh he's sort of like, he's definitely intends to be a troll and a provocateur, but
absolutely, that's his whole MO.
And I really like his personality comes out in the documentary, right? In a way that like Morgan Spurlock or Michael Moore, it's like he's on a journey. He wants to answer a simple question. It's very easy. This should be easy to answer this question. And we're on this journey with him. But what I love, he's totally deadpan. He is way more of a comedian. He is as much a comedian as he is a political commentator, but in the style of like a Stephen Wright. I don't know if you're familiar with Stephen Wright.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He's got that deadpan. Yeah, he's great. So, but what's interesting is, and I'll confess, because I'm a person that dropped out of college who also went on to author 4 editions of a book that's required reading as part of independent film studies in college. So some of the dumbest people I've ever met have college degrees.
Right. I completely agree.
We've all run into those people that are total elitists that like throw up their degree. Like, it's like, my opinion is better than yours because this. Screw those people. I think they're full of crap. I've encountered them constantly in my career, in all the things that I persevered, whether it's building up Film Threat, whether it's making movies, anything that almost anything I've done has been attacked in some way, and whatever, I don't care. But I those kind of people just always rub me the wrong way. So when you see like, my opinion is better than yours, that attitude, I can't stand that.
Well, let's be honest here. In the film, he is just asking a very basic question. You know what I mean? It's not like he's out there, asking for a thesis on biology. He's just asking the question, right?
Yeah, I was going to make that point. The brilliance of what Matt does in this is that's all he does is ask questions. The simplest question is in the title, but when he talks to these experts,
right,
all he's doing is asking a question. And for some reason, these guys and gals are put off by the question he's asking. And it's not necessarily the words of the question and how he orders them. It's the fact that he is the one asking the questions,
Exactly,
and that's what they ask him all the time. Why are you asking me this? But it's just a simple, reasonable question.
Yeah, and look, I get it. People who know Matt Walsh see him, like you said, as a provocateur, as a troll, right? And so I think a lot of times, maybe with an interview, and maybe I should have stated this in my review, is like maybe the people who were being interviewed assumed they were being trolled, right? Like maybe they thought, oh, well, he's trying to get me with a gotcha question, right? The thing is, though, like, what is a woman isn't a gotcha question. It's just, can you answer it, right? What blew me away were the 1,000 different responses to what a woman is. And, again, my politics aside, I think anyone watching this, if you went in with a clear mind, no bias, you would be thinking the same thing too. You would be wondering, why can't people answer this question, right?
It's an assault on common sense, basically.
Even that's controversial now. You can't say that, right? You can't say it's common sense, right? And I feel like this film does pull you in certain directions, sure. It does have a certain leaning, sure. But if you went into it, like I said, with no bias, you will start to at least ask some questions yourself, right? No matter what side it's on.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm Gen X, right? I grew up with the whole exactly and I grew up with the whole question everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was a mantra, question everything. I'm going to question authority. I'm going to question the government. I'm going to question everything, right? I'm not going to tell you what, I'm not going to necessarily tell you the answer or tell you how to live your life, right? But I think it's valid to be able to ask questions. And I do love that what is explored in the film. I think there's a person named Scott in the movie who transitioned from woman to a man, who explains what it's like at 42 years old. That to me is the spine of the thesis of the movie, is this person saying, here's what happened to me. Here's my experience with all of this. An adult with some perspective, a person who lived her life as a lesbian and then decided to transition as an adult, which I think when you're an adult, that's a choice that you can make. And it's amazing to hear that experience. What I thought interested me was I almost feel like you could do a sequel to this movie because it explored so many roads, but the one road it didn't explore, which I think is really worth discussing, is who are the parents? I mean, I'll say this as a parent, my kids are grown and gone. They're in their 20s. They're gone. They didn't deal with anything like this in school. And I feel like my kids also missed social media. So they just social media was just a thing you could be on. And I was like, you don't need that. Do your homework. I want to say I was sort of like one of those asshole dads that no, we're not doing it. It's why? Because I said so. Yeah. We're not having cake for dessert. We have watermelon. You can have watermelon or you can have cantaloupe. We're not having cake for dessert every night. That's the other person's house. We're not doing that. I was very much like a dad like that. So where are the parents of the kids that are being pulled into this? I kind of feel it's a loss of, you sit down and you talk to your children. You talk to your children, whether it's at dinner, whatever. And I feel like the sort of dinner conversation going away, I think, is a problem. And I think that I just really curious about the mindset of the parents that, in a way, because they have to be supportive, right? So,
well, you saw the story about the father in Canada who was arrested
right
for his little girl daughter, and it's it's that kind of stuff, man. That needs. I feel like people need to, even if you're on the left side where you agree with everything related to this topic, you have to even admit this is getting to the point of ridiculousness, man. It's you know what I mean? He got jail time for calling his little girl daughter. That's bad.
And refusing to let her take the puberty blocking medicine.
Right. And the fact that Canada will allow them to give it to her without his consent
and throw you in jail for it.
And throw you in jail blew my mind, man. Like that to me, that was the most triggering part of the movie was that topic right there.
Well, this is what I mean when I say like the parents, like I feel like there is a certain type of parent that is pushing their kids and supporting it. And it's mostly my just casual observation, TikTok, no father in the home, because you rarely see the dads being supportive of this. Like, we're not like, dads are not supportive. And it's mostly, I'm sorry, this may sound racist when I say this. I think it's mostly
white liberal women.
White liberal women. You took the words out of my mouth.
I mean,
so you're the racist one.
No, you know what? We all know this. But we can't say it, right? But we all knew that's who's. And I don't want to use the word push, but pushing their child at least to do this because it's trendy to have a trans kid, right?
Well,
but not only can you not say it, you can't even question it. That's the part that bugs me.
That's the worst part.
Well, it's like my girlfriend is a school teacher. She teaches 4th grade. I'm not going to say where. And there are like no white kids at her school. It's very much whites are in the minority there. And so it's mostly, Latino kids, black kids, whatever. She says, because we watched the movie together and she's like, I didn't realize this is happening. And then for a goof, I'll say, you got to watch these Libs of TikTok teacher videos because she'll watch them. She's like, it hasn't come to her school. She's more a school on, let's say, the east side of LA. None of this is present. And why? It's not rich white liberal women. And I think they're the ones pushing it. And it's like, for what? Virtue points? Like, I want to know the psychology of the parents pushing this. Because I will say this, like, puberty sucks. I remember going through puberty as a kid. Your hormones are raging. You feel weird. Your body's like, I'm getting hair. What? Like, it feels weird. It's a terrible time. You get into arguments with family and parents. Like, it's a weird thing. You got to get through puberty. And I remember when both my kids went through it, same thing. It's like, they're kind of crazy. They hate you for a while, right? So they want to hate and rebel. And then they come back and they're like, it's a terrible thing to go through. But I think that if you are, maybe having feelings, you might be gay, whatever, like those things are going to come out later. You're going to realize that, although, you talk to some people who are gay and they're like, well, I knew it when I was 5, and that's totally fine. I feel like we've now gone from, acceptance of gays, and I will say, like, I grew up, my uncle, who was my hero growing up, was gay. And he was a decorated Vietnam War veteran who inspired me to move to California. Great guy, very liberal. And I could go on and on about how much I admired and loved him. So when he came out as gay, no one in the family cared. It was just like, so what? And this is my boyfriend. No one cared. But I feel like this stuff is like, these kids are not, like, I never let my kids make decisions that were other than like, do you want pizza or chicken fingers?
Right.
Here's your choices. But
if your kid can't choose to get a tattoo, they should be able to choose that, man. Like, or make. When I say choose that, I don't mean be trans. If they're trans, they're trans. Okay, I'm talking about giving them pharmaceuticals that will screw their body up. I mean, dude, we're talking before puberty. So your body goes through a lot of changes, man, between 8 years old to 18 years old. Like your body is still developing, and to have these weird, and that's a whole other topic. The pharmaceutical companies that are benefiting from all of these transitions, right? Because you have to keep buying the pills or the injections. Like, they don't stop, right? Like, it's an ongoing process.
I have a very sobering story about this.
Let's hear it.
When my daughter came to us, took her to the pediatrician, as good parents do, and he measured her height and basically said, your daughter is at the lower 15% in terms of height. She's going to be short. She is short today. He then tells me, hey, but we can fix that. We can give her puberty blockers, the exact drug, the exact hormones being touted in this Lupron. We can give it to her. It'll pause her ability to go into puberty. She'll grow more, and therefore she'll be tired. She'll be taller. And I just remember sitting there thinking to myself, "Oh hell no, we're not doing this." You know, this drug, you do not mess around with a child's development.
No, you don't.
And this is for height. You know, it's almost as if, you know, and part of me was like, what, we're not allowed to have short people in this world anymore? Are short people now, you know, are we marginalizing short people? You know, and it just really got me angry at that point. And it was, you know, it was being strong, you know, I did talk it over thinking to myself, well, maybe I'm wrong. But, you know, at some point it was like, there needs to be the next documentary needs to be about hormones, about synthetic hormones and what it's doing to us as people and as a society. Because I think this is the unknown. I think this is the next conspiracy that's going to happen. This is the next biological disaster that's going on.
It's not a conspiracy because the numbers are there, right?
Yeah.
Like, and here's the thing: if you're a drug company, you always want to kind of keep your drug pushing, right? So why not start them young, right? Why not have trans kids needing these pills and injections, right? There's a shady part of this that isn't being spoken about. And Matt touches on it, but he doesn't get too deep into it. And I think that, like you said, Alan, that does need to be explored in a big way, you know, about who's really benefiting from all of this, right?
Yeah, I'd venture to say that the rise of cancer in women is directly related to hormones, whether it's birth control or the myriad of other hormones we're pumping into our bodies. And that's my controversial statement of the day.
Well, can I make a quick comment? Like, in watching the film, I understood the motivations of the pharmaceutical companies. Money, right? Over the lifetime, you're basically signing up for a subscription model. You got to take these drugs for the rest of your life, right? Okay, so subscription model. And my stand on drugs, I don't take them even if I'm prescribed them. When I had my appendix out like 2 years ago, and I specifically, they're like, we can give you something for pain. And I'm like, I don't want anything, any pain medication that I could potentially be addicted to. I'll take some Tylenol 3. Other than that, you know what I did? I powered through the pain, and a week later I was fine. Yeah, it hurt. Yeah, so what? And I feel like just assigning a drug to solve a problem doesn't solve the problem. The harder thing is better diet and exercise. When my son was, I think he was like in 4th or 5th grade, one of his teachers, elementary school teacher, who I thought was very lazy. And my son was like hyperactive. Why? He's a boy at that age, like all boys are. And she wanted to give him Ritalin. And no, you're not going to drug my son because he's an inconvenience in your class. You improve as a teacher. Right. So, and my girlfriend, I'm very proud of her. She runs a tight ship. She is old school in terms of the way she teaches kids. So when she watches these teacher videos, she really cannot believe that those teachers have jobs and that they haven't been fired and that they're weak-willed. I think it's weak-willed people in leadership. But here's my larger point. I'll wrap up, and I want to get to your comments because the chat is on.
There's a lot of comments.
Chat is on fire, and everybody wants to cancel Dante. They all want to cancel you. So. Or they're gonna follow you on Twitter is what they're gonna do.
Story of my life, right?
It's okay. But here's the thing. I understand the motivations of the pharmaceutical companies. Money. I understand the motivations of the doctors and the psychologists and whatnot. Why? Money. I even understand the people who write books and do speeches because that's how they make money.
Exactly.
I understand all of those. It's like, okay, I understand your motivation. Your motivation is profit. What is the motivation of mostly liberal white single mothers what is their motivation? Is it some validation on social media? Is it some narcissism? What is that? This is the thing. It's one of the things that, like,
it's a ball, man, to be honest with you.
The documentary is 90 minutes. How much can you explore? It kind of touches on a lot of important points. This is the one thing that I think he didn't touch on that I would like to see more about is what is the demographic of the people that are doing this? It's not poor people. It's not lower class, right? It's not the students that my girlfriend teaches. They're not being indoctrinated into this. So what is the personality makeup of the person that would do this?
So I'm going to cut you for a minute because you brought up the fact that, fathers aren't in the home, right? Yeah. So in the hood where I grew up, in the Black community, there were fathers that weren't there. I knew a lot of friends of mine who were raised by single mothers, right? The reason why you don't see a rampant happening in the hood or, like you said, poorer areas is because people in those areas can't afford the treatments. They can't afford medicine. People in the hood are just trying to eat every day. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why they target these white liberal women who have, a nice little income coming in because they know that they can afford to transition their kids because they have the means, right? Don't get me wrong. There are Black kids in the hood. I'm sure there are trans kids in the hood, right? The problem is they don't have the money to transition. So they have to do it the hard way. They have to become an adult, make their own money, and if they still want to do it, they can do it. You see what I'm saying? And that's the thing, man. It's regardless of how you feel about the topic or the movie, these kids can't make these kind of decisions for themselves. They just cannot. I'm sorry, a 5-year-old cannot decide what gender they are.
Yeah. 5-year-olds should not be allowed to make decisions that will impact the rest of their lives.
At all.
Well, let's go to the comments because you're getting a lot of love here, Dante. Nate Winchester says, Dante James sounds like one of those classic rogue cop characters who plays by his own rule.
Yeah.
Leona Juniper says, why are 99.99999% of the people born in the wrong body confined to 5 nations only?
Yeah, his trip to Nairobi is.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
That was great. Lord Blueberry the First for $5. Thank you for your super chat. Women are adult human females. Females are individuals who do or did or will or would, but for genetic anomalies produce eggs. Heather,
you just gave away the ending of the movie.
Yeah. And then Spidey Sensei 72 says, Juniper, wait, there are transracial people on TikTok too. How does that even make any sense? Yeah, there are people who tried to change their race. There's a very famous British white dude who transitioned to be Korean. You ever seen?
I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, let's not forget Rachel Dolezal.
Sean Wickett says, word, Alan. Scott Miller, I need my pain. James D. Kirk. Fletcher Williams, the next Jurassic Park based on what they given hormones. And then Sean Wickett, messing around with kids is pure evil. I will say this. There's a very famous t-shirt that says don't mess with trans kids. And all the people that I see in my feed that support that, none of them have children. I know for a fact that none of them don't mess with trans kids. I have another t-shirt. How about don't mess with kids? That's all you need. Don't mess with kids at all. So, and Stephen Mack says, giving your kid Lupron is abuse. Not the Batman. No one was ever comfortable in their body during puberty. That's true. I remember being really uncomfortable and like it feels weird. You're like, and dude, no matter what I did, I tried to exercise and lift weights and stuff as a kid. I was gangly skinny no matter what I did while Dante was playing football.
I think the point here is why are we trying to protect children from adversity and pain? Kids need to learn how to overcome adversity. They need to learn to overcome pain to build their character, and yet we're coddling them and we're raising weak children at that point.
Well, this is why, and I've gotten into discussions with friends of mine that are very religious and, talking about why does God allow pain and suffering in the world? And my answer to that is pain is how we learn. That is how we learn, whether it's, hey, don't touch a hot stove, or whether it's don't be in a toxic or abusive relationship.
Yeah.
You know, or whether it's anything that causes pain, it's like, okay, now you need to beat that video game level and make sure that you don't suffer from that kind of pain again. Or just you need to overcome that rather than like, here's the pill, problem solved. And it's like, no. But yeah, you're right, not the Batman. Great.
Yeah, we are defined by our pain at this point now, and are defined by our weaknesses. And it's like, no, we need to overcome these and be defined by our strength.
Fletcher Williams, canceled Chris's girlfriend. Sure, we could, I'll tell her she's canceled. Luke, she doesn't care about social media at all. Does not care. Barely posts anything. Luke Deckard, the professional human. Damn it, we got to cancel all 3 of them now. Yeah, we're all going to be canceled. Ian Manel says, white liberal women have taken kindness to insane extremes. There is a point at which kindness is apathy and abuse. I agree. Like some of the people I don't trust when I'll meet like people, especially in LA, you know, the ones that are like super nice and you're like, yeah, I don't trust that. I don't trust that it's genuine. What do you want? So there you go. Let's see. We live in a clown world, says Masters of the Nerddom. Let's see. Forced Skin Awakens, questioning. Fletcher Williams, cancel Allen. Spider Sensei, no, Phil W. Their guards were up because of political bias. Yeah, this is the thing that bugs me is like, so people won't even review the film and this is maybe a complaint I have with the Daily Wire and the way they release this movie. Because I know part of the intention of releasing this movie is to start a conversation. If they're pushing subs to their channel, the only way to see it is behind a paywall. What would be nice is, why isn't this movie in theaters? We probably know why. Yeah. Because those theaters would receive threats. But I'm tired of the idea of living in fear, because it's not like any of us are transphobic, right? No. We especially if you go to Sundance, you're gonna hang out with lots of trans people. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. What's your name? Cool. That's what I'm gonna call you, by your name. And I don't care, you know, how someone chooses to live their life. I'm always about let your freak flag fly, but maybe not for kids. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of kids who, when they were children, got full SpongeBob SquarePants back tattoos. And when you talk to anybody anyone who gets a tattoo when they're like in high school or like as a teen, they usually regret it. They
usually always, yeah.
Yeah, they'll definitely regret it. But
and also, I just want to say for myself, honestly, I've said this for pretty much my whole life. I don't care what grown folks do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you're grown, you do whatever you want to do. You eat what you want to eat. You drink what you want to drink. You sleep with whoever you want to sleep with. Right? I don't care. I don't care what you do. You're an adult. You pay your taxes. You're an American. You should have the same rights that I have. You know, live your life. Right? My issue, you know, is only when it comes to children, because they're not of mind to make these decisions for themselves. They're just not.
I'll even go so far as to say, having raised 2 kids, they're fucking idiots. They're idiots.
I want to be
they don't know.
Now, but yeah.
They believe in the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy, and they're idiots. And I don't really. It's not until they get out of single digits, and this is why I know they're idiots. They're the dumbest things in the world they would watch. They went through a phase of Barney the Dinosaur, and I could not stand that show. The sound of the show gave me a headache.
Oh,
I
Caillou.
could not stand that show.
Caillou is the worst. And I don't know why they love that show.
And they have no discerning. It was when my kids reach like their double digit age, 10, 11, 12, and then they start to not like things. They're like, yeah, I don't like that, or I don't like, they start to have preferences. Then it's like, okay, now you're okay, beginning adult, you know, you're beginning.
They're developing discernment.
Their discernment, exactly. But we got some super chats here, and we do have our special guest that'll be coming up. Might be a little bit late. Ryan of Ninja Badass, which opens today in theaters in limited release. It's out on Blu-ray and digital next week on the 14th. We're going to get to him, but we want to get through all your chat questions as we wrap up this conversation of What is a Woman. I want to thank Dante for coming on the show today. You got to come back, Dante.
For a while, it's great to finally get on the show. And
you got to come on again. We'll talk about.
I'm not going to be a stranger.
And follow Dante on Twitter at Cancel Dante. We got some super chats here, so let's get to them. Nerd Immunity for 179 pounds euros. These are parents suffering from Munchausen by proxy. Yeah, I that may be part of it. That's why I'm saying, like, I understand the motivations of all these other people because they're making money, and money is motivation. They've created a new, I like to say they created a new vertical, right? This is just a new category of where you can make money, a whole new industry, just like, you create a problem to solve a problem. There you go. But
I think also social media kind of feeds into this idea.
Right.
Something's wrong with me. And then you get all these likes coming in, and that feels good. And I think that brings you into that Munchausen feeling.
Matthew Hammond for $4.99. Thank you for being brave and talking about this movie. You should watch the Hulu series Dope Sick with Michael Keaton about opioid prescription drug abuse. Yeah, well, I don't know that we're brave. I feel like we're just doing our job. This isn't brave. It's not brave.
Just doing our jobs, man. And that's my point. Critics are to review. That's it.
And here's my other thing I would say about critics. If you're so afraid to review the movie, why don't you just give the movie a bad review? Here is your opportunity to now lend your opinion. Watch the film. Right. Like with any movie, I sit down. I don't even want to know who the director is or who made it. Like a lot of things, like people want to they want to overpraise movies because they're made by certain people. And I think that's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. Sit down, watch this movie. And you know what? You have missed your opportunity to give the movie a bad review by not even discussing the movie. And so I'm really disappointed in some of my colleagues who should be stepping up and at least commenting on it, writing a review, something. Jake, the movie geek, says, my favorite part of the documentary was when Matt went to that African tribe. What did you guys think of that scene? It was great.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know what it did? It gave you a perspective, like a world perspective of how people view this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you remember what life was like 5 years ago when this wasn't an issue?
I said less than 10 years ago, any one of us could have answered that question without flinching.
Yeah.
We just knew, right?
Bad Adam 12, pain and adversity builds your character. I agree with you. When I look back, and I was raised by a single mom who had to work, working single mom. I had newspaper routes when I was 9. I had to mow the lawn to make money. It's so funny, coming from the Midwest, it's you mow your own lawn. The idea of coming out here and nobody does it because you pay a lawn person. I'm like, no, to me, that was exercise. I got exercise doing work, right? And there's not that sort of...
You learn to get paid. You learned how to work and get paid, right?
Exactly. But yeah, pain and adversity. I think pain and overcoming pain, that kind of builds you up because then you get bigger and bigger goals, whatever that is, So, and look, Film Threat says, what is an Allen? I do want to know what is an Allen. Crux Riaju Dub, I saw this last night. If you absolutely have no idea what is going on with the world, this is a pretty good watch. I like the parts where he interviewed the wolf person. Yeah, the wolf person wearing the Invader Zim t-shirt. That was really interesting. But I look and I just look and truthfully, I feel empathy for people going through this. Gender dysphoria is a real thing. I feel like people going through this. These are people that through whatever circumstances, whatnot, they're going through something. I just don't know that the go-to for children necessarily should be drugs as the go-to immediately. Excuse me. Jeff Brooks for $4.99 says, for thousands of years, there was never confusion of what a man or woman was. So funny how in the most enlightened time, we are lying to people. MK1001 says, now following Dante. Thanks. Yes, follow Dante at Cancel Dante. Dante, you should quote tweet the review and then make a comment on it. That way you can be bullied by tons of people online. Wouldn't you love that on a Friday?
You know what? It's in the name, right?
Nate Winchester, the lesson of Finding Nemo, if you let nothing happen to him, then nothing will ever happen for him. Well, there you go. Let's see. Reese Corinne, What is a Woman is pretty good. Fairly put, except for a bias towards Christianity. I would love someone to do a documentary in the exact same steps and style as Matt's, but asking, what is God? That would be a great, there's a friend of mine. So a friend of mine made a documentary that's kind of like what you're asking. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's directed by Roger Nygard, and it's a very good doc. And I can't remember the name right now, Look up. Can you look up Roger
I'll look
Nygaard
it up.
right now?
I'll
It's
look
like
it up.
it's like that, Reese Corinne. And I want to make sure we get that in. Jeff Brooks, did we do this one? Yeah.
We did. Okay.
But let's wrap up here because we have a special guest that's going to be joining us shortly. Dante, first of all, thank you for joining us on the show.
Absolutely, man. Glad to be here.
And I appreciate that you're taking the step forward to like, dude, we need to talk about this. I mean, Bill Maher recently actually talked about it, and his whole thing was like, we can ask questions. Why is this happening? That is
and again, Bill Maher is liberal. Like, people want to say that, oh, he's a Republican now. See, that's the problem. If we start questioning, we're Republicans all of a sudden, right? Like,
right.
I want to be clear. I have no political leanings. I despise Democrats and Republicans alike. I don't care about either side. So for me, I'm coming at this just from my own point of view. And I think if more people did that, if they came to like these kind of controversial things with their own point of view and not their leanings, right? I think we can have conversations about it, right?
Well, Dante, you've always said, what was your Twitter bio thing about, like, that kind of made a reference to Thanos? Like, perfect.
Oh, yeah, just balance. You know, I'm not left or right. I'm perfectly balanced. That's all things should be, right? The quote from Thanos, right? But he's right. Balance is important.
Well, I've always felt that way. I've always been kind of middle of the road, sort of like center left, but the left is kind of batshit. If you ask me personally, I think just as someone who's mostly.
See, I think both sides are batshit at this point.
Agreed. But I always sort of look and it's like, okay, who's the best candidate? What does the country need right now? Sometimes I'll vote based on an issue, but I want to give myself. I'm not like solidly one or the other because I want options. I want options to be able to think for myself, which is something that I think is very, very Gen X. But I want to say, Dante, you got to come back on the show to review more movies and talk with us. We're going to be doing more live streams. We're doing a show on Wednesday called Hollywood on the Rocks. If you can join, I'll talk to you off. But follow Dante at Cancel Dante on Twitter, and it's in the name. It's in the name. Yeah, that's awesome. And I hope you're in an Airbnb right now.
I am, man. At least for the next 2 weeks. So
Sweet.
Yeah. In Koreatown, by the way.
Oh, that's a great area. At least you get decent food there. All right, Dante. Thanks.
Thanks,
we'll
Dante.
Talk to you soon. Later.
Yeah.
Thanks for the review. Awesome. Take care.
Oh, and the documentary is The Truth About Marriage.
Yes. No, it's not The Truth About Marriage. I made it before that.
Okay.
Go through Rogers. The Truth About Marriage is a really good doc too. It's about love.
The Nature of Existence.
Okay, The Nature of Existence is the movie that I was talking about. It's about God and why we're here. It's on Amazon Prime, I think part of Prime Video. The Nature of Existence, directed by Roger Nygaard, who is an editor on Curb Your Enthusiasm, oddly enough. So, let's talk to Ninja Badass director. Ninja Badass, first of all, this movie, and I'm going to get an answer to this question because the director is going to be joining us momentarily. This movie is an over-the-top action comedy that is like, the best way to describe it is it's like an anime brought to life. It's like a live action anime. Everything is like very quick-witted, this, no, whatever, and like and sort of over the top in its ridiculousness. One of the villains steals puppies. A guy gets his arm ripped off multiple times, and it's just ridiculous. And we have the director and I believe the writer and star, Ryan Harrison. Ryan, how's it going, man?
Hey, yeah, I'm the writer, director, producer, funder, theatrical distributor.
Actually, and go and check out the trailer. Actually, the link is in the description for both the trailer and your website where you can get Ninja Badass. You can find out where it's playing in theaters. Let me throw that up. There you go. Let me throw up the, I think I put a little ticker here of where you can find your movie. I'll find it, but here it is. It's your website is whitetrashninja.com.
Yeah. So that was the original title, and I changed it to Ninja Badass. So that's the original website.
Well, Ryan, was it obviously I love trauma films. I love like what they call the good bad movie, and my favorite quote from John Waters is like, if you try to make a bad movie, you can't fail. This is not a bad movie. This is a super entertaining, over the top film that I think I I watched it on my television. I kind of wish I saw it in a theater because the reaction would just, I wish I saw it in a theater, you know, a couple beers in. But like, what inspired the film and got you to want to make it? And to my comment about like, was it inspired by anime?
Yeah, you know, there are a lot of like, there are just a shit ton of like random references to everything, like video games, anime. John Waters was a big influence. Like Female Trouble is one of my favorite movies, and Pink Flamingos. Mainly 80s ninja movies from Godfrey Ho. I don't know if you guys like those. Ninja Terminator, Ninja Thunderbolt, and Dolomite and The Human Tornado were big influences. When I first wrote it, I originally intended Rudy Ray Moore to be the sensei, but then he died. I spent a really long time writing the movie and rewriting it. But yeah, so those are the main influences.
It follows that classic storyline of the genre and those other movies that you mentioned. One thing I also have to compliment you and maybe warn our audience. There's nudity in this film. This film is sexy. I mean, I really think boobs is kind of a motivation of your main character. You want to win the girl, right? But there's
you're missing half of it. It's not just boobs, but it's bacon as well.
Bacon. Well, that's right. Bacon. And not only that, sex with a dragon. A woman has sex with a dragon.
A lot of spoilers going on here.
I'm sorry about the spoilers, but I feel like
there's so much bullshit in the movie. It's just like nonstop. So there are always things for people to still discover, I think.
Well, it's an amazing achievement when you see the film. I mean, you see the poster behind you and you've got like all these accolades from festivals. How did you get like all these festivals? Because this is not like, you know, I like to say that sometimes a Sundance movie or an indie movie is like a documentary about lesbian wheat farmers. You know, it's like something that's very earnest and sincere. And your film, it's sincere in its nuttiness and over the topness. But how did you get like this into all those festivals?
It was tough. So I did try and submit to like Sundance and Slam Dance and South by Southwest, and I tried to get in with the lesbian wheat farming documentaries. It's like a midnight movie, but yeah, I they wouldn't let me for years. So eventually we got into an underground festival, like right before the pandemic happened. Was our first screening in South Texas at the South Texas Underground Film Festival, and it was awesome. Yeah, and then the pandemic happened, and then everything just went to shit, and you know, festivals got canceled, and then they were online, which sucked. But then eventually, if you get into like the right underground festivals, then other festivals see it. They see it in the program for those, you know, so then you just get into more, and it kind of snowballs. And then at the tail end, we got into one in Italy, which was actually like in a theater in Italy. And I went over there with my mom, and we saw it in this like town in northern Italy, and it was like really wild.
I'm amazed that you have the same hair in real life that you have in the film.
Yeah,
I feel like your hair is kind of a character in the movie.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it'll be a character of all my movies, probably. I don't know. I was thinking, like, if I do a different series of movies, then I'd dye my hair black or something.
I just love the whole spirit of the film and the whole like over the topness and also that the movie does have heart. I don't want to like oversell that it's like it's all boobs and bacon and martial arts and blood and gore. But let me just say, you're getting a lot of love in the chat. So do you mind answering some questions from our audience?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go through. I'm going to read. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but I'm going to read these to you here. We've got Filter. It says Ninja Badass. Also slap that like button. Indifa Ninja Badass. Indifa Ninjas. Maybe you know that girl. I don't know.
That's my mom.
Oh, that's your mom. Okay, that's great. Not
She's also in the movie. And she also helped make it.
Oh my God. Not the Batman. It's that ninja guy, Ninja Badass. Jack D. Ripper says, what other directors, films, or TV programs influenced this film? Good question.
Yeah, John Waters was a big one. I like Hong Kong action movies. And you guys were talking about RRR. I haven't seen that yet, but I love Indian action movies, like from any time period. But for Hong Kong, it's mainly like Sammo Hung. Prodigal Son is like one of my favorite movies. If you've seen that movie, it's like total, just goofy, Hong Kong. It's like Stephen Chow before Stephen Chow got popular. So Stephen Chow, I guess, did influence too.
Dempsey, has your exposure to basically all aspects of filmmaking helped you write, direct, act, and produce this movie?
Yeah, it did. I always wanted to make movies. Well, starting in like college or whatever, I wanted to make movies. So I got into VFX, and I learned everything to be able to make a movie on my own. So I've done lots of improv classes and sketch classes and writing classes and all that shit in LA. And I did VFX on this movie, The Revenant, a vampire movie. It's great. Wow. I don't know if you can watch it anywhere, but and John dies at the end. It's a Don Coscarelli movie. I did VFX on that.
I love Don Coscarelli.
Yeah, and I did like movie trailer stuff for the past 10 years. So that really helped my editing, I think. But yeah, in my style,
Yeah, I want to ask you about the VFX because I always felt like as indie filmmakers, it's out of reach, it's out of your grasp. But it seems like now being able to do VFX for a film is gotten easier. What was your experience like with? Because there's a lot of it in this movie.
Yeah. It was hard. I was working a full-time job at the time. So that was like 60 to 100 hours a week. And I'd come home at night and work on my movie. So that's also why it took like 3 years or whatever, 3 or 4 years to edit it and do the VFX and stuff. But yeah, it was hard. It was tough staying motivated and everything. But thankfully it was a comedy. So, like the VFX is like adding in pigs and cows, which is pretty fun. Or just, making the blood, more blood, adding in more, going back and adding in more blood and then more blood.
Or like a sea of puppies in one scene.
Yeah, or a sea of puppies. But yeah, I was watching like a VFX talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I adore. And there were only like 4 or 5 VFX guys on that movie for the whole movie. And they all used After Effects. I mean, they used the same thing that everyone else could pretty much.
More comments and questions, JC. So I will ask you once again, Samurai, do you surrender? Masters of the Nerddom, laughed my ass off. Greatest name for a ninja movie. Flaccid Phoenix has a question. What was your favorite scene to shoot in this movie?
Well, I mean, we already gave it away. It's the boobs and bacon scene. Actually, it was like one of the best days of my life. I don't know if anything will really top it. But it was. I think I scheduled it for my birthday too. And the cinematographer, Daryl Delaney, who's very talented, he was like filming the boobs and the bacon, right, and the butt and everything. I'm like, you gotta get in there, man. You gotta get closer. And he's so polite. I had to take the camera from him and do it myself.
Was there a choreographer for that scene too?
I guess it was me. I mean, it was just like, it was me, Daryl, and my mom, like for pretty much every shot of the movie. Just imagine my mom standing 3 feet away, like with a boom mic, or me standing with a boom mic. I mean,
well, here we go. Boobs and Bacon spoilers. Not the Batman says Boobs and Bacon would be a great strip club name. Everyone's talking about
popular.
Indifa, Italy loved Ninja Badass. Ninja Badass is a great ride. Best title for a movie in a long time. And then more questions here. Solomon Thornton asks, what is your favorite anime? Because I really felt it was also not just like classic like exploitation action movies. I felt anime was something of an influence on the film.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't go like overboard because I could have like rotoed out people and made the background go crazy and shit, like Scott Pilgrim or something. But so I'm not like super into anime. I can't remember like what references there are to anime in particular. Akira would definitely be my favorite anime. Yeah. I'm kind of a noob with Dragon Ball Z. I grew up on Dragon Ball Z.
Flaccid Phoenix says Ninja Badass is boob and bacon propaganda.
Yeah,
it's propaganda, folks.
So,
and then Bad Adam 12 says a great director once said, "All you need is a big chase and a big chest." I think I would agree. Nate Winchester asks, was there anything unplanned that ended up in the movie?
I don't know. I mean, I originally planned for it to be like a Harmony Korine, like gritty, artsy movie. So I guess everything's unplanned. I don't know. I mean, it was all scripted and stuff. There wasn't like it wasn't like anyone just like took their top off and just start shaking their boobs around.
Well, that's what you can always say. You can say, you know what, the nudity, it's in the script. It's part of the story. It's organic to the story. So there you go. And I'm sure that you didn't have an intimacy coordinator, because that's like a real job in Hollywood now. Intimacy coordinator.
Yeah. Nowadays I'd be pretty freaked out about it, but we shot it in like 2015. You know, it was a long time ago.
Oh,
it was
wow.
different times.
Jack D. Ripper asks, how rigorously did you stick to the script while shooting?
Kind of rigorous, you know. Daryl, the cinematographer, and I would, you know, we throw out different lines for people to try and everything, but it was pretty much stuck to the script. We did shoot the most of the movie at the end of in the fall of 2015. There were like 45 shoot days or something, and we had to just stop because there was snow on the ground and we just couldn't do it anymore. So then we went back the next fall and we shot the beginning and the end of the movie. And I had actually rewritten both of those after like the experience of filming the middle, which I was really happy with to be able to do that.
That's one thing I admired about the film, is that it didn't feel like, as crazy and as dense as the movie is, it didn't feel like you were out of control of the story at all. That there was a storyline going through it. And yeah, it didn't feel like you were just throwing things out there for shock value, even though there's a lot of shock value in this movie.
Thank you.
Jack D. Ripper goes on to ask, what in your opinion is the most important quality of a film director?
I don't know. I guess I've never really thought about that. You know, I don't really think of myself as like, you know, I got this great mind or something. You know, when I was on the set of like John Dies at the End, I saw Don Coscarelli, who people would say I think everyone would say he's an amazing film director. He was like asking people like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? You know, should we do this? And I kind of took that as an example of how to do my set, where it's like anyone can have an idea or a way to do something. It's not about like a really super specific vision, at least not with me. But yeah, so I think being open to what's going on and changing things as they happen I think that's the most important quality. And, you know, like studios always push the idea of like, the visionary Zack Snyder comes, you know, has this great vision, but you know, it's a team of people and it's a bunch of ideas from everybody.
On that note, Nate Winchester asks, will this movie be the start of an entire ninja cinematic universe or badass cinematic universe?
It would probably be a ninja badass cinematic universe. And hopefully, I don't know, I'd like to make a TV show with these two characters. Well, actually, it'd be a different pig, but you know, it'd be Haskell and a talking pig fighting crime. Well, we'll see.
Dempsey asks, if you could be involved in filming any pre-existing IP, which IP franchise would you choose and what role would you like to play? Producer, actor, writer? Is there anything out there that you'd want to like take on as your next project?
Yeah, Lobo would be great. You know, I could get roided out somehow, or just get a muscle suit. I could play Lobo. I would write it and direct it. I play every part of it, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fletcher Williams, what did you shoot on, and what software did you use for editing?
It was a Panasonic GH5, and I used Premiere and After Effects, and I used Blender for some of the 3D stuff, like the explosions and things.
Oh.
Nice. Masters of the Nerddom, what was one of the most difficult aspects of making Ninja Badass?
I mean, it seemed horrible at the time when we were filming. I mean, because I did pay everyone, you know, a low rate, but like, and some of the locations were free. But so it's like you're running out of money the whole time, and so there's a lot of pressure. And yeah, I don't know. The most difficult, I guess, was like seeing it all the way through, because it's like a roller coaster. When you're doing something creative, it doesn't matter what it is. You know, you love it, you hate it. Someone rejects it, someone likes it. You know, so that's the most difficult part of everything, I think.
And people are saying Solomon Thornton, hell yeah, I would love to see a Lobo film. Dempsey, Lobo would rule.
Yeah.
And then Jack D. Ripper asks, do you think there are enough opportunities for people with limited experience in the industry?
Opportunities for what? Like
for just to enter. I mean, look, everyone starts as a PA. You know, that's how you start. Yeah. I mean, Kevin Feige,
PA, by the way,
was a PA. Kevin Feige was a PA. I mean, like, you know, look at people in the industry. It's like the mailroom or a PA entry-level job. Anyone can get an entry-level job in the industry. And then last question here from Flaccid Phoenix, who asks, what is your dream project that you want to work on next? And before you answer that question, I just want to compliment you on, you started shooting in 2015. This is a quality, and I want to compliment you because you don't give up. You don't give up. You did not give up the dream. And then you went on the festival tour and you went to Italy. And then, you know, the last 2 years happened. And then some of the festivals, you know, you debuted digital. It's like, you know, it's the whole secret to success in anything is just to not quit. I mean, it's like that, like you're on that journey, you know? And so I just want to compliment you for that, because that is the quality that, like, that's how you get to the finish line with an indie movie. I mean, I'm going through that right now with like 2 films. I've been working on one for over a decade. So yeah, but what is your dream project?
Next movie is a bodybuilding movie I want to make. It's about the guy gets his pituitary gland augmented and then his muscles just kind of go crazy. It's kind of like Akira a bit, but not as violent, I guess. But, you know, it'd be my version of a bodybuilding movie. So it's like, you know, Ninja Bass is my version of a ninja movie. So, you know.
Love that. Well, Ryan, I want to thank you for coming on the Film Threat podcast today. I was so excited to have you here just because, like, I feel like you're an example of, to our audience that watches us every week live, like, you can make a movie. You can make a movie called Ninja Badass. You can make a movie called Ninja Badass, and it opens in theaters, and it comes out, you know, on. In fact, I was going to ask you about the Blu-ray, which fell over there. Are there extras on it? I hope that there are extras and commentary and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, there's extras. There are VIP extras. If you've seen the movie, then it makes sense. You got the ninja van on the back. Yeah, I did the extras myself. You know, it was like a half hour. So the original cut of the movie is like 2 hours long. There's a half hour of deleted scenes and bloopers, and, you know, I don't know. There's a fun secret menu. It's pretty fun.
I love Easter eggs. I love Easter eggs. Cool. And I just want to remind people, go to whitetrashninja.com where you can get more information. And it's all, yeah, here you go. Ninja Badass is now in theaters and on digital Blu-ray on June 14th. You can get it. Go to whitetrashninja.com. Ryan, dude, thank you for joining us today. This was a blast.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. You guys
cool.
are awesome.
All right. Have a great rest of your weekend, man. Later. Cool. That was awesome. God, what a great, dude. I just love that. Like, I'm never going to give up. I'm never going to give up. And if you go to the website, you got to go to whitetrashninja.com. The website is funny. The website is pretty hilarious. Let me see if I can bring it up here for a second.
I mean, the movie was just fun from start to finish. Clearly the guy knows his stuff. He knows his genre. He knows how to parody it. And I think that's the strength of this movie is it doesn't feel haphazard in any way. He knew what he was doing, and he knew what he needed to get on screen.
No, absolutely. Like, yeah, there it is. Yeah. That is the.
By the way, the villain went after cute puppies and hot chicks. That was how he got his powers.
But the bacon scene, and I know I ruined something by talking about and also I like you use what you have, right? Yeah. You use what you have, you know, available to you, right? So he spent years writing it, then years shooting it, and then like created this movie that is just wild, over the top, weird, but it's at the Lemley Monica on June 10th. That's today. That's awesome. And you can get the Blu-ray on Amazon. Look at all these accolades with the laurels. I love that. This is, and I will say this, if you're a filmmaker, you have a website to promote your movie, this is an awesome website. Look at this.
Yeah.
I love it. That's great. Well, we're going to wrap it up here today. We got a few more comments that we can throw up. So let me throw up some of these final comments. What a show. We talked about Jurassic World. We talked about, like, I mean, this was jam-packed episode, I will say. I'm surprised we got to all of it. But let's go through some final questions here. As we wrap up. Crux Riaju dubbed Chris, this is unrelated, but I'm so happy I found you again. I was like 13 in the tech TV days, and I remember your brief reviews. I valued the minutes of screen time they gave you. Thank you for that. And Crux, just so you know, Attack of the Doc is coming out this fall. We're doing a screening of it in San Diego. It might be at the Hillcrest cinemas. We're trying to work it out. So yeah, you will see a documentary before the end of this year about Attack of the Show. It's very personal. You're going to learn things you never knew about the show. And I appreciate that you found me again, Crux. So thank you for that. Piers Bronson says, thanks, Ryan. Great interview, says Shelby AC. And then Shelby AC says, I love the artists who don't take themselves too seriously. I agree. Like, it's sort of a prerequisite if you're going to be a friend of mine or be in my life in some way or even work together. Alan knows for sure. Alan, you know for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have a sense of humor to work at Film Thread. Okay. You can't, if you take yourself too seriously, you're not going to last long. All right. Because I don't even trust people that take themselves too seriously, because I think that's kind of a dangerous attitude to have. It's an elitist attitude. It's an attitude that, is just very much I don't know, I just don't get along with people that are like that. You have to have a sense of humor about yourself. And the great thing is, I don't think Alan and I would have worked together this long. God, it's going on 5 years.
Yeah.
If we didn't have a sense of humor about ourselves. I mean, Alan's got a great sense of humor about himself. See his show at the National Comedy Theater on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday? I'll be there tomorrow, 7:30.
And Dempsey says, thank you for allowing me to ask some questions. I truly do appreciate it. That's Absolutely. The point of this. Every week, and I think we have a special guest next Wednesday, too. I forget the movie. But every week, we're trying to bring on at least one or more filmmakers. I think a week from today, we have 3 filmmakers coming on back-to-back. The show's going to go a little long. Sorry about that, Alan. What can you say? And Jack D. Ripper says, it's my birthday today. Happy birthday, Jack D. Ripper. Going to get drunk and watch RRR with some buddies. Hail, Film Threat. Well, thank you. Hail, Jack D. Ripper. Hail to everyone in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for being so kind to the guests that we come on. I mean, the guests that come on might not be your personal taste in movies, not always, but what I love is the people we bring on are more than willing to give information and try to help you make your film. I mean, look, Ryan spent years working on his movie and then went to Italy on a trip to Italy with his mom to screen it. Derek Douglas for $5. Thank you, Derek, for that. Appreciate it. Hi, Chris and Alan. If you want a good chuckle, Google Dante James YouTube and then click on the channel. You'll laugh when you see what the channel is. Wait, that might not be Dante James's channel. Is it? Can you look it up, Alan?
Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
Is it Dante's channel? I know Dante's been talking for a long time about what is it? Can you share it?
Yeah, I'll share it.
Yeah. And there's a movie I wanted to there's a trailer for a film I wanted to talk about. Maybe we can do it next week. That's not Dante James.
Apparently it is.
Can you copy that link? I want to text that. I'm going to text that to Dante.
Yeah, it's just Dante James on YouTube/Dante James.
Oh my God. All right. Dante's going to have to be canceled. Dante. That's his channel. Oh my God, that's awesome. But here's some other quick questions here. The Collector says, watched What is a Woman, and being from Sweden, it's so weird and eye-opening to see what is going on in America. Yeah. And then Jack D. Ripper, love these interviews you guys are getting with filmmakers. We're going to keep doing it, and we're trying to get bigger filmmakers to come on, and there you go. And then quick remind. Let's see some other questions and comments here. Masters of the Nerddom, great show today, fellas. Love this channel. Thank you for that. We appreciate your support. We're going to be back next Wednesday at an earlier time, I think 1 p.m. Pacific time.
1 p.m. Okay.
We're going to talk about Kenobi, the new Kenobi. We're going to have a filmmaker interview, except I forget who it is. And we're going to talk about this trailer for this new IFC movie that came out, which I'm dying to share with you. Oh, and I have a new Film Courage video up. It's a new Film Courage video. It's called How to Fix Hollywood Movies. Go to just look up Chris Gore Film Courage, and a new video just came out, I think 2 days ago, called How to Fix Hollywood Movies. And it's already up to, I think it's over 10,000 views now. What's it up to? 12,000 views. So Film Courage, they got a lot of subscribers. So check that out. Some final comments here before we wrap up. And John, long last name. I hope to see a bunch of people here in Dallas for the meetup. John, I will not be there. But I think some of your favorite people will be there for a meetup of a lot of YouTubers there that I know. I know Gary from Nerdrotic, and among others. I'm losing my voice, folks. So apologies. All is but I won't be there. But I will be, I think, in Vegas in August, going to that meetup. Let's see. All Twisted Up. Just watched RRR on Netflix yesterday. Batshit crazy action. So good all around. Can't wait for Attack of the Doc and to get my red DVD signed. Oh, we met. We met at Celebration. Send that to me. Got my address. Send that. I'm happy to sign it. And yeah, at RRR, I saw again on Wednesday in the theater. Insane reaction, like Avengers Endgame, cheering and clapping and laughing. People just love it. And just posted in the chat. This is my new Film Courage video. You can just go to Film Courage and look up on their latest videos. And Ninja Badass is back. Ryan commenting, thanks for having us on. Thank you, chat people. Yeah, check out Ninja Badass. It's on digital and Blu-ray next week. Check out the trailers on the channel. There are links in the description to all of that. JC with a quote here. All composite things pass away. Strive for your own liberation and with diligence. Last words of Siddhartha Gautama. That's great advice. I like that. I'm sure I butchered the name. My apologies for that. And as a reminder, also check out Flaccid Phoenix's RRR review. It's got like 8,000, 10,000 views on that thing. Crazy. Flaccid Phoenix has a channel. He's our mod and producer of this show, really becoming an integral part. We cannot do it without Flaccid Phoenix. So thank you for that. Subscribe to his channel. He does great video essays, film video essays. So check it out. His RRR review is awesome. We might want to do another revisiting RRR and do another review, Alan. I'd like to do that maybe next Wednesday. We could extend that. And I would like to, because now I've seen the movie 4 times in the theater and a bunch of, my girlfriend is like, she always goes, you're obsessed with this movie. It's like, no, because I'll just go to like certain scenes, like the Natu Natu dance scene, or like the, when Ram, Beam, when they like, they finally confront and I don't want to do any spoiler things, but it's so great. Check out his.
Yeah, we probably need to like do either the first KFG or Bahubali.
No, it's KGF. We should do KGF chapter 1 and 2. Bahubali we should do. We definitely want to do maybe we just take a day and we'll just do maybe a Monday. I want to get a third live stream, so we're doing it on Wednesdays and Fridays. What I think I want to do is kind of tweak it where we do also a Monday show. So 3 times a week, but twice is pretty. We're trying to keep up. We're trying to keep up, folks. But look, I want to remind you, look at that. Ninja Badass. Great show, guys, says Douglas A. Burton. Thank you for that. And with that, I think we're going to wrap it up. Alan, any final reminders?
Go to filmthread.com. We have reviews going up every day. Dances with Films is going right now, and Tribeca is going on right now. So we've got reviews for both of those all weekend.
Awesome. And then I want to say, check out all these films, right? I feel like, look, Jurassic World didn't quite land. I'd rate it a 5 or a 6 at best. It's but there's always other choices movies like Ninja Badass. And now I'm just going to wait. You know what's going to happen now on social media? Because we covered that movie, the movie you can't cover. You can't cover. Here's what's going to happen to me.
Shame. 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 Shame.
That was at San Diego. I think that was at San Diego Comic-Con or WonderCon.
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that woman does amazing cosplay. I've run into her before, not recently, obviously, because cons are not a thing. But they're coming back. Everything's coming back, which is great. I'll leave you with this, which is a reminder. Definitely go to filmthreat.com. And check out new reviews every day, including Dante James. What is a Woman review is on the website right now. So look for it. You can just scroll through and you'll find it. What else was I going to say here? Oh, am I frozen?
I think so.
Oh, I'm frozen.
I thought it was just me, but yeah, no, you're frozen.
Oh, we're frozen. All right. Well, let's see.
We can hear you fine.
All right. Well, I'm frozen for a second. Must be a StreamYard thing. So here's your quick reminder about our reviews. Let's see. I had it all queued up. I was so organized here. I don't know. We're having some problems with StreamYard
Okay.
right now. So you know what? Great time to end the show. So thank you, everybody. Alan, take us out, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right, so let's get out of here. Yeah, you're still frozen.
I'm still frozen.
Oh,
Are we
we're
still
still
live?
live. We're still
We're
live.
still live. Oh, we're trying to. It says having trouble connecting. Please check.
Oh, here,
your
I'll do it.
connection.
All right,
End the
goodbye,
show,
everybody.
Alan.
See ya.
End it.